So we are going to learn a Sikha on Shabbos Parsha, Beshalach Tafshin Nun Aleph, 1991. And the Rebbe is going to find the common denominator of all the Nisim that it speaks about in this week's Parsha, the Ness of the splitting of the sea, the Mon, the Beirish of Miriam, etc., Amalek, that they all have one common denominator, and they are a lot of them are connected with the idea of Simcha and the idea of Bitochon, so it fits in very well with the topic of our Wednesday Shiur. The Parsha saying Medubar Oidis Kamen Yom Klolium in our Parsha, it speaks about many general matters, Nisim Klolium, general miracles, Shekarol Bnei Yisrael Achar Tzrei Tzeisem Mitzrayim, that occurred to the Yidden after they're leaving from Mitzrayim. After it was that Paris sent out the nation. The super it relates about the miracle of the splitting of the sea. And the Jewish children, the children of Israel, went in the dry land within the sea. And that day, Hashem saved the Eden from the hands of the Egyptians. Through the fact of that all the Egyptians were drowned in the sea. That not even one will remain. And the Eden saw the great hand that Hashem did in Egypt. And the Bnei Yisrael said songs of praise. Then Moshe and the Bnei Yisrael sang this song of praise. After the story of the songs of praise, of the Mesupra, the Nesam Tokas Meimara, it speaks about the miracle of sweetening the waters of Mara, afterwards the Parsha of the Mon coming down from heaven, the miracle of the descent of the Mon. Behold, I'm making you rain down upon you bread from heaven. The very nature of the descent of the Mon in the wilderness. And also the details of the manner how they descended was in a miraculous way. That even, let's say, if you collected more than a omer or less than a omer, everybody got the same amount per head. And if you and other miracles that took place with the taste of the Mon and so on. So we see that there's many things that took place, many miracles having to do with the Mon. And another thing, V'gam Nesaf Slav, there was also the miracle of the Slav birds, Vatala Slav Goimer, and the Slav went up, so that in the evening you should be able to eat meat in addition to the bread that they had from the morning Mon. Top of the second column, the continuation of Parsha, it relates about the miracle of the well through hitting the rock. You shall hit the rock, and water will go out from there, and the nation will drink. Parsha till the end of the Parsha, the miracle of the victory in the war against Amalek. Moshe Rabbeinu built over there a Mizbeach by Yikra Shmoy Hashem Nisi, and he called his name Dar Hashem, my miracle. What does that mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu also lanu kam nes gadol, that Hashem made over here a great miracle. Even shekol lan nisim misilparim behemshach echad b'sidra ach b'toyra b'shalach, since all the miracles are related in one continuation and one parsha in Torah, Parsha Beshalach, moving it's understood, in addition to the fact that they occurred one in close proximity to the other, there is also a connection in the content of the miracles as well. The Rebbe asks, seemingly, these are completely different miracles, one from another. So what is the common denominator between all these miracles? We're going to skip over a little bit to the next page, to Ois Beis, the third paragraph from the top of the page. Humans are behagdim. This will be understood by first prefacing. Nisman now the Parsha Seinu that the above mentioned miracles in our Parsha. Einam davar chad pa'ami of. It wasn't only a one-time event that took place then in the wilderness in the Midbar. But these are very general matters. They have an ongoing continuation for all generations. These go on. In addition to the fact that every matter in Torah is everlasting, these miracles, the way they were initially occurring was in such a way that they had an ongoing effect for all generations. So he's going to go by miracle by miracle. Kriyas Yam Tov, the splitting of the sea. Though the miracle in the simple sense was a one-time temporary event, that was just then when the Yidden were trapped by the sea and the Egyptians were running behind them, were trapping them behind them. So then the sea split. So it seems to be just a one-time event. Was brought down in many places. The splitting of the sea was a general thing that affected the entire world, as we heard that all the waters, he says in the footnote, all the waters in the world split at that time. And this affected the entire chain order of descent of all the spiritual realms. Why was that so? As a preparation for the giving of the Torah. And the giving of the Torah was an everlasting event. It's an effect that an action that was something that was an everlasting action. So therefore, if the giving of the Torah, which Kriyas Yamsuf was a preparation for, was something that had echoes throughout time, so therefore the preparation for the giving of the Torah, which is the splitting of the sea, was also something that has echoes and effects all time. Like it's also emphasized in the Song of the Sea in Oz Yashir at the conclusion, Hashem Yimlach L'Olam Hashem will reign forever. In other words, this miracle manifests itself and expresses itself in Hashem's everlasting reign. And because the splitting of the sea has ongoing effect for all time, therefore we mentioned the idea of the splitting of the sea daily in davening. Similar to the fact that we're supposed to mention going out of Mitzrayim every day. It's brought down to Sefta, it's a part of Gemara. We have to mention also the splitting of the sea, like it's brought down in we have to mention Kriyas Yamsuf after Krishman in the morning in Emes V'Yatzav, and also after the night Krishman, Ma'ariv v'chein b'Emes Mamuna, top of the second column in the part following the Ma'ariv by night. We also mention Kriyas Yamsuf, like we say, Yamsuf Lam Bakata, you split for them the sea, V'Zeidim Tibata, and the wicked ones you drown them. You did them havarta, and the friends, meaning the Jewish people, you crossed them, you made them cross the sea. And their oppressors, the waters covered over. To you, they responded in song with great joy. The Rebbe is going to emphasize later this idea of song having to do with joy. And all of them said, who is like you, Neder B'Kodesh, that's adorned in holiness, the awesome of praise who does wonders. Together all praise and carnate Hashem. And they said Hashem will reign forever. And to add, in addition to the fact that after Krishma Shal Shachris we mention it, and after Krishma Shal Arvis we mention it, in addition to that, every day, part of Shachris davening and Psukkah de Zimra before each tabach, we say the entire Oz Yasher including all the 18 mentions of Hashem's name, as the Zohar points out, as it's pointed out, the importance of that and so on. So we see that's the idea of the Kriyas Yamsuf, the splitting of the sea, how it has an impact for all time. The second miracle that has an impact on all time, that's in our Sedra, Yeridas HaMon, the coming down of the Mon. Though the miracle is only for the duration of the 40 years in the wilderness, so again, it was seemingly something temporary. Hashem commanded, fill up an omer measure of the mon to be for safekeeping for your generations. So that even once the mon stopped, they should still be able to see the bread that I fed you in the wilderness. And this was actually displayed to the Yidden later on. Like it was in the days of Yirmiyahu and Navi, that he took out from the Kodesh HaKadoshim, he took out the little jar of man, see, and he told the Yidden, this is what sustained your forefathers. Hashem has many means and channels and messengers to prepare food for those that fear him. So therefore, you don't have to worry, how am I going to make a living, and how am I going to be able to do Torah mitzvahs, how am I going to be able to study Torah, and so on. What's going to be with work? So Yirmiyahu assured them, give a look. You have the man as a proof that Hashem takes care of those that he wants to take care of. It's also brought down, it is good to say every day the part of the Torah that speaks about the descent of the man. Why is that so? Because it's supposed to strengthen our belief in Hashem. It's supposed to bring us to this type of recognition and understanding of Hashem's providence in preparing for us what we need. A person should believe that all of his food is coming to him by providence. That's the way it was with the mon. That Hashem supervised and directed for every person, per household, in the person, every person by the head count received the exact amount, how much they needed. And this is also brought down the Alter Rebbe Lepoil. We don't actually say the Parsha Mon in the Karbanis, but the Rebbe mentions that there, even the Tzemach Tzedek says that there are those that do it from time to time, and so on. Another idea how we see the Mon having an impact for all generations. He says on the next page, in addition to the fact that the commemoration of the Mon there's to be found on every Shabbos. As a chiyuv shel gimel sudas, Shabbos, the obligation of eating 3 meals on Shabbos is from the fact that there was a double portion of Mon, and also v'gam shalach mishnah, also the fact that we have 2 loaves by the meals. Learn the Mapsukim and the Gelamon. We learn out from the Sukkim concerning the Mon. So the fact that it says 3 times Hayyim Lashem, Hayyim Basada, Eklu Hayyim, we learn out 3 meals on Shabbos, and also the idea of having Lechem Mishnah, a double portion, a double loaves on the Shabbos table. By Yom HaShishi, look to Lechem Mishnah. On the Friday, they gather a double portion of bread in honor of the Shabbos, so you can have the Mon also for Shabbos. So we see again the impact of the Mon for all generations, even though it was a miracle that only took place at that particular time. Another point, now Milchemes HaMolek. The war against Amalek in the Furish Bekral, like it's explicit in the Pasuk, the war of Hashem against Amalek is from generation to generation. What does it mean from generation to generation? So there's an interesting Yerushalmi, especially according to the explanation of the Yerushalmi translation. Just like there's Targum Onkelos, there's Targum Yernis Nazil, and there's Targum Yerushalmi. The Targum Yerushalmi writes, Midora the Almadein, from the generation of this world, in other words, the present, Midara Mashiach from the generation of Mashiach, and Midara Alma the Osim from the generation of Olam Haba, the world to come. So he said, Medrash, what is the message that the Targum Yishalmi is saying? The Chol Hadoyrus Kulam, and all the generations, there is the war of Hashem against Amalek. Yedu Hashem mitzvah shel zchiras Amalek l'kamadei. So mitzvah tmidis, like it's known that the mitzvah of remembering Amalek is, according to many opinions, a constant mitzvah. The custom is that there's the 6 remembrances that's recited after davening in the morning, that we remember also what Amalek did to us. So them moving for this understood all these 3 matters. Kriyas Yamsov, splitting of the sea, Mon coming down from heaven, Machanas Amalek, the war against Amalek, came in Yonim, Klolim, Torah mitzvahs, Avodas Hashem. These are general ideas in fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs and doing and serving Hashem. Now, yes, b'neim shayches. According to what we said before, there's an association, a connection between them. Since they're written in one continuation in the same parsha. So the Rebbe is now going to explain what is the common denominator and the connection between them. Yes, we say one of the explanations why this is all in the same parsha. The content of the Song of the Sea is relating the praise and thanks Moshe b'nei Yisrael, that Moshe and the Jewish people are giving to Hashem, that he saved them from Pari and the Egyptians. The Mitzrim were drowned in the sea. Through that, all see the greatness of Hashem, who is like you amongst the mighty Hashem. Says a fellow who is like you, adorned in holiness, awesome praises, doing wonders. This even brings about that all the nations of the world know of this, and they are scared. That the nations heard and they became upset. Then the leaders of Edom were shocked. The mighty ones of Moab, they were trembling. Canaan, all the inhabitants of Canaan melted away. That it will fall upon them the fear and another type of fear with your great arm. They were silent like a stone. Until your nation Hashem would pass, until this nation of yours that you acquired passes. You have loved them more than all the other nations, like a object that was acquired with a lot of money. That's very precious to the person. The same thing, the Yidden are very precious to Hashem. You will bring them and you will plant them in the mountain of your inheritance. A set place, a ready place for your settlement. You made Hashem Migdash Hashem, the Migdash of Hashem. Your hands prepared Ad Hashem until it concludes what Hashem will reign forever. So now the Rebbe asks on this, seemingly the main emphasis in the Song of the Sea should have been concerning the salvation of the Jewish people, Yidden being saved through the miracle of the splitting of the sea. Why is there such an emphasis on the effect on the nations of the world? The drowning of the Egyptians in the sea, and the fear and the trembling fear on the nations surrounding him. So surrounding all the Egyptians, seeing what happened to the Egyptians. The Rebbe says that we can say the explanation why is there such an emphasis on what the effect was on the nations of the world. The content of the miracle of the splitting of the sea and the song marking and celebrating the sea, the splitting of the sea. It's not so much to demonstrate the greatness of Hashem, where Hashem is found above, Ve'echshu oyev Yehudim, that how Hashem loves the Jewish people, Mogin Aleim, and He protects them. Mitzad Miles Nishmaseyim, because of their advantage, the quality of the neshamas, b'yosem bonamat Hashem Elokeichem v'chulu, because they are sons to Hashem, your God, but rather eladavke levate is gedulas v'chayzek Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The main thing with the splitting of the sea is to express the greatness and the strength of Hashem and Hashem's connection to the Jewish people down here in this world. A world that's ruled by the laws of nature. The nature that Hashem Himself established. A nation that has a world that has the nations of the world. And the Jews are the fewest of the nations. They're called one lamb among 70 wolves. Jews have opponents. Mitzrayim v'sharumas, they have the Egyptians, they have the other nations. Regardless of that, Hakadosh Baruch Hu megin abnei Yisrael, Hashem protects the Jewish people, and He saves them from the hands of their enemies. And if necessary, Hakadosh Baruch Hu nisim, Hashem performs for them miracles. He splits the sea for them, etc. By days of matul pachad ve'emal umas mesavim, and through that He throws upon the nations fear around them. Only through this becomes revealed in a complete way His kingship in the entire world, also in the world, that the rules of nature are in control, that a person could make a mistake and fool himself and think that the world is running according to the laws of nature. It becomes revealed how Hashem is the one that owns the world and is the king over the Yidden and on the entire world. Hashem yimlach la'olam v'ed. And this is something that the Yidden brought out with their Shira. By singing the Shira, they actually brought this into the world. Yeah, Shloimeh, the Rebbe says in the second paragraph, we could say, that's the novelty that was affected through the Song of the Sea, through the Yidden letting everybody know, through saying the Song of the Sea, that Hashem reigns forever. It is a medrash, like it's brought down the medrash, even though you have existed forever, your throne was not truly settled and established, and you were not known well in your world until your children said a song of praise. Amru Yisrael, the Yidden said, "Be'emes acheloi barasai lamcha yisa ata, misha barasa oisai atahu." In truth, even before you created your world, you were there, and from when you created the world, you're the same one. El kaviyachol oimid chulu. It's as if you're standing; you're not settled on your throne. Abu mishamata bayam. But when you stood to us by the sea. We said praise before you. In Oz, when we said the word Oz in Oz Yashir, that's when it was your kingship was settled and your throne was set. That your throne was set from then, like it says in Tehillim. What's it mean by Oz? Be'oz Yashir, with your Oz Yashir, that's when your throne was set. So this means through the Yidden reciting Shira by the splitting of the sea, this Gala ba'olam is revealed in the world ba'ofen shel isyashvus in a way that's settled. Malchusa Yizbarach Hashem's kingship. Okay, let's skip over a little bit to the next column, second paragraph. Avo Nisyashva Malchusecha Ba'olam Niyadavkai De Amiras Shira Shel Moshe B'nei Yisrael. The settling of your kingship in the world came about specifically through reciting the songs of the Az Yashir through Moshe B'nei Yisrael. And to add, Sheshira Kshura Im Simcha. Song is connected with joy. Sheperetz is Kol Agdorim V'Agbolos. As we know, the Rebbe always emphasizes this word that joy breaks through all boundaries and all limitations. Therefore, it gives us even more power to reveal godliness. Godliness on its own is beyond limitations. But oilam in the world, which is gvul, which is limited, where Hashem is a king over the entire earth. So that's what the effect of our joyous reciting of Shira brought about and revealed Hashem's reign in this world. Is that moving from this understood? The splitting of the sea and the song by the sea are the most important and general matters. It's the foundation, the basis, and the general service in all times and all the generations. Therefore, all the Jewish people said the praise of to Hashem in song. Nashim, Bataf, men, women, and children. Chazal bring down Vafilu Ubrin Shemei Imam, even fetuses in their mother's womb. Amr Shira, they said Shira. That's why we say Kriyas Yamsuf, we say the Shira of Az Yashir every single day, like we said before. That's one component of the Kriyas Yamsuf, as it has echoes throughout all time, and why it's so general. Another thing is because of Hashem's kingship, and accepting and recognizing Hashem's kingship is also a very crucial and basic concept in Yiddishkeit, which is Kabbalas Oil Malch Shemaim, second paragraph from the bottom. The acceptance of the yoke of the kingdom of heaven, Ulegalas Malchusi Yisbarach Ba'olam, and to reveal his kingship in the world. In every single generation, and every time, and every place. Even when there are wolves around us. All of them will recognize. Also the nations of the world. Hashem will reign forever. That can be in a perfect way when in the future time, when the entire reign and kingship will be his. Let's skip over again a little bit more to Ois Dalit. I mean, essentially, he goes through how we see all of this in the tefillos that we say in every single day, in Ames V'Yatziv and Emes V'Emunah that we say by night. We see this as well. This theme is all emphasized, how we are, how Hashem reveals his kingship and makes his rule known over the entire world. Dalid, to be able to manifest the idea that Hashem will reign forever in the world. A Jew has to first make Hashem's reign within himself to be that way. He should recognize and feel in his entire being Hashem is the king of the Yid, in the way of an everlasting manner, in all of his matters, including matters of this world, in all matters of time and place. In his physical body, Hashem reigns. In all his physical things. Where does a Yid give expression to that? That's the man. That is the content and the lesson from the teaching of the man. To believe that all of his sustenance comes by divine providence. That's why it matters. Every single day a person needs to recognize that his sustenance comes from Hashem. Miridis Haman Loimed Yehudi, from the man descending, a Yid learns B'chol Zman, B'chol Mokim, in every time and every place. Sha'Kadosh Baruch Hu Azon Sakol, top of the second column, that Hashem feeds and sustains all. Mizoynish Yehudi, the food of a Yid, and not only a Yid sustenance, but etzem kola and kuli, and essentially the sustenance of the entire world is that the sustenance of the entire world is lechem min hashamayim. It's considered bread. It's coming in the way of bread from heaven. Moving from this is understood that even when a Jew is not in the wilderness and he's not actually receiving the man, he's actually working and toiling the earth. He's getting bread from the earth through his toil and through using the garments of nature of plowing and sowing the field. He knows and senses even the bread from the earth. He senses it's really coming from heaven. It's bread from heaven. It's not connected with the limitations of the rules of nature. Like it says in Medrash, it says an expression, the pasuk, what a person gets every single day. So the Chazal say, Misha bara yoim bara parnasos. The same one who created the day, he created the sustenance, the food for that particular day. Therefore, from here, Rav Elazar the Medoy used to say, "Call mish yesh lema yechla yoim." Anyone who has enough food to eat today, and he says, "Ma yochel macher." What am I going to eat tomorrow? I have food today, but I don't know what I'm going to eat tomorrow. He is deficient in trust and faith in Hashem, because Hashem, just like created the day, he created the sustenance of that day. You don't have to know today what your food is going to come from tomorrow. Tomorrow is when the food for tomorrow will come. Ukan Hagas Hillel, and similar to Hillel, who used to say, Baruch Hashem Yom Yom Yamas Long Zorcheinu, that Hashem is blessed. He will give every single day our needs. He will carry the burden of our needs. We don't have to do like Beshamai did. Beshamai every single day used to put away, I found this particular delicious food, I'll put it away for Shabbos. The Rebbe says in the footnote that even Shammai that did that only did that because the honor of Shabbos. But he wouldn't put away from Sunday to Monday or Tuesday to Thursday, because that's Chasei Emunah, we said before. The Rebbe says this type of attitude, that one realizes that the food and sustenance comes from heaven, is especially so now, especially in the time of Golus. Even more specifically, in the latter generations of Golus, that even more so we realize that it's all coming from Hashem. Like it's known, the saying of the Reb Marash, the sustenance of a Jew these days, it's in the way of the the man comes down, lechem min hashamayim, bread from heaven. This means a Jew has to know that a Yid has to know that he is beyond and above the world and nature. Even the way he's a Jew and he's standing in the world, he has an external association with the garments of nature and the nations of the world. At the very same time, he has to realize who l'mayla matava is beyond nature, and makabels parnasasev is called starchus shaloi ba'open shalechem neshmayim. He receives his sustenance and all of his needs in the way of bread from heaven. She'ena kosher and dark yatava. It's not connected with the ways of nature. Shlomo, we could say, shal derech zeh hu gam halimud ma'aslav u'ber mayim shnipshlu Yisrael v'midbar ba'ofen nism hashamayim. This same lesson is derived from the Slav birds and the well of water that came down to the Yidden in the desert, in the wilderness, in a miraculous way from heaven. From this we derive for all matters of sustenance and the needs of a person. Gam basar mayim, even meat and water. Noisef al alechem, in addition to bread, Hashem klol yilchol tzarchei adam, bread, the Chazal say, is a general term that includes all the needs of a person, but it goes into specific needs like meat and water. Even when a Jew at present seems to be getting his meat and his water and other needs through garments of nature, he has to take a lesson from this week's parsha and realize that just like then, now as well, it is coming from heaven. Through a Yid accepting upon himself Hashem's kingship in his private life, when he reveals within himself that Hashem reigns forever. What does it mean, revealing in myself that Hashem reigns forever? That I look at my parnasa as coming completely from Hashem. How his sustenance and all of his matters are coming from the King of Kings, Hashem. So then, when a Yid brings this home within himself, then the person has the power to influence also the world. Skip the brackets down to 2 lines before the end of the paragraph. Then in the entire world, it should be felt that Hashem reigns forever. To affect the perfection and the completion of this matter, Hashem will reign forever. It's necessary to remove and to nullify all matters that oppose this. That's the general idea of the war of Amalek. It says by the war of Amalek that Hashem swore on the throne of Yudke. The Chazal derived, skip the parentheses, Hashem swore an oath that his name is incomplete. It's Yudke, not Yudke Vavke, but Ein Kisei Shalom, and his throne is incomplete. It says case, not Kisei with an aleph. Until the name of Amalek will be entirely erased. When the name of Amalek is erased, Hashem Shalom, so then Hashem's name will be complete. Yudke Vavke Kisei Shalom, and his throne will be complete. That's why Hashem's war against Amalek is from one generation to the other generation. The hand of Hashem was raised to swear by his throne that he should have an everlasting war and hate against Amalek. Amalek was still Hashem. Amalek is the opposite and contradictory to Hashem reigning forever. Amalek is the opponent of the complete revelation of his kingship in the world. Since the revelation of Hashem reigning is an ongoing thing in every single generation, also in the line of turning away from bad, to nullify those matters that disturb and disrupt Hashem's reign. It goes from one generation to another generation. Only through the name of Amalek being erased, the name of Hashem will be complete and his throne will be complete. He goes on and concludes this part about Amalek, Hashem, the service of Hashem. Klippus Amalek, who in Akridus. What is Amalek about spiritually? coldness, ambivalence, indifference. Which also, like it says, Asher Karcha Badera. Asher Karcha, the simple meaning is that he met you, but Karcha is from the word kar, coldness. Amalek Amalek is also the numerical equivalent of doubt. He cools off and he poses doubts in what occurred through the splitting of the sea and in miracles in general. Maybe what Amalek says, you know what, Kriyas Yamsuf occurred, but it's a one-time event. Yidden are not above nature. Don't think of yourself as being above nature. That was an exception, the splitting of the sea. What Amalek says is that the ordinary order that Hashem inserted into the world is that a Yid still and all will be under and subjugated to the laws of nature. And Amalek goes on to say, especially in the times of exile, we are under the laws of nature. Like it's also hinted in the word karcha, is also from the word happenstance. It just happened to be by chance. There's no divine providence. Amalek writes a lifel sheyehudi lo yira in yana hashgacha pratis. Amalek wants the effect that a yid should not see matters of divine providence. Says Hashem Yimlach to be able to reveal Hashem reigning forever and ever. Also by Yid in his service to Hashem. And also in the entire world. It's necessary that the name of Amalek should be eradicated and erased. To nullify all matters of coldness and not being interested and not being at all concerned with anything and doubts. It's the opposite of the idea of the name being complete and Hashem's throne being complete. We're going to skip over a little bit towards the end over here, page 221. Ois test. Okay, second column from the top. The lesson for every single Yid from the matters that we said earlier. Yehudi tzarech ladas, a Yid needs to know, despite the fact that he's found a soul and a body in the world with the nations of the world. And he's in a world that seems to run according to the laws of nature. Who? He has to know that he as a Jew is beyond the laws of nature. Yehudi, Kasher, Tamid, Makadosh Baruch Hu, a Jew is always bound up with Hashem. Jew Melech, Ubalabayis, HaKol Kuloi, he's a king and a ruler over the entire world. Makadosh Baruch Hu, Shomer, Umegin, Olam, Makalat, Varim, Hashem, guards and protects him from all matters. Hine Loyonim, Loyishon, Shomer Yisrael. Behold, that the guardian of Yisrael will not slumber and will not sleep. Since Hashem is not bound up, heaven forbid, in the rules of nature, he's not limited, he's not tied to the rules of nature. Hashem has the capability to do wonders and miracles to no end. To who does he do wonders? To the nation that's close to him, the Jewish people. Like we said earlier, Nisim Etel Yehudi Zaloy Pella. Miracles by a Jew is not a wonder. Im Kol Yehudi Kairim Nisim B'Chol Yom V'Yom. With every Jew, miracles occur every single day. Nisim Gluyim, either revealed miracles or Nisim Nestarim or concealed miracles. Adlan Nes V'B'Chinas She'ein Bal Nes Makar B'Nisa, until such a type of miracle that even the one who is the recipient of the miracle doesn't even recognize the miracle. That's how concealed the miracle is. Even more so, specifically. Mudgish Arabei, I did a Besenis Yen was emphasized through our Rabbeim and Nesiim, but Fratko, just Moiracham Yadmur Sidrain, especially through my father-in-law, the Friedrich Rebbe, the leader of our generation. The Miyuchad Bezmanim Elu, specifically in these generations, in these times, Yachal Yehudi Liris Etzle B'Chayav Hashgacha Pratis, a Jew could see by himself in his life divine providence. A day his bonus kala through a light contemplation. Just thinking through things that happened the last 24 hours. We could see divine providence and open miracles from heaven. All he has to do is open his eyes and he'll see it. If this is speaking about Jews, in the entire world, Hashem does for them constant miracles. How much more so Jews in the Holy Land, land that Hashem's eyes is in it from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. We do not need, we shouldn't need to have miracles that we read in the newspapers. That a non-Jew had shot a missile, and a non-Jew from the kind ones, from the pious of the nations, from the righteous of the nations, deflected it. We shouldn't even need such type of miracles. How come? Yehudim, because by Yidden or Befrat Beretz HaKodesh, especially in the Holy Land, there's multiple miracles every single day, like we said before. Nisim binyanim tovim, miracles and good things, but in the visible and revealed good. The lesson for this in actuality, especially in these days, in addition to the fact that he has to do everything that's dependent upon him by his own strength, that he has to do things by the rules of nature. Every single Yid needs to have full trust and confidence, without a doubt, that Hashem will give him all good, in the visible and revealed good. Just like Hashem that does a vengeance against Paran. He crosses his children amongst the splits of the sea, famous name, but time is Tiban, their pursuers and their enemies. He drowned them in the depth. And his son and his children saw his might, and they praised and they gave thanks to his name, and his kingship they accepted. In a with will. Just like then, Hashem will do this now as well. The kindness fills Israel, and Hashem will fulfill the prayers of the Eden. That He should fulfill for us His promise and His faith to redeem us from the hands of kings and from the mighty ones, to place our souls in life, make a step on the mighty ones, the altars of our enemies. All these constant miracles. Moving from this understood. Through this very powerful trust and faith in Hashem, a Yid needs, especially in the Shabbos of song, and the week of Shabbos Shira, we need to be besimcha this Shabbos. And to say praises to the miracles that Hashem does and will do. Let's look at footnote 146. He brings from a letter of the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he says, let's start from the second line in 146. A person needs to do, when it comes to working and so on, everything that a person needs to do according to Torah, according to human intellect, in earning a living, taking care of himself, and so on. And at the same time, to have trust and confidence in Hashem, not even to be in the shadow of a doubt that Hashem will assist him. Because Hashem's providence is on every single creation. Call in your name all their matters, but no same and their movements, hayoser kalos, even the most minor movements, hakoilu bashgachose haprotis. It's all by his individual divine providence, bashgachose is Baruch and Hashem's providence. It is what gives the life and strength to all that lives in heavens and earth. So therefore, Hashem's divine providence sustains us with everything we need. Let's skip down to footnote 147. It says a very geschmackle word over here, where the Rebbe said that through praising Hashem, that itself brings the Bitochon, that itself brings about the blessing. So the Rebbe says in footnote 147, it says, Asidin Yisrael Mashir al-Aslav. It says that in the future, when Mashiach comes, Yidden are going to say Shira. Comes the Shalah and says something else. Not when Mashiach comes, they will say Shira. In anticipation of Mashiach's coming, they will say Shira. Kloima. This means to say, Asidim Kishi is Basru Lagula in the future. It'll be then when they will be told about the redemption, Yomru Shira al Masha Asid Lavoi. They will say and sing praise on what will be. The Hainu ala Nisim Shiyavayu, on the miracles that still have to come. She is Basru Aleim, that they were told about them. Yagdimu L'shoyra B'yad. They will say immediately. They will say Shira before they even occur. And they will be in the strength of their belief as if it actually occurred. Stop over here.